Good evening, Azeroth, and welcome to episode 177 of the World of Goldcraft. For my faithful listeners, you'll notice it's been a while since the last one. Yeah, I'm not going to belabor you with tons of excuses. I haven't been able to record. I have been too lazy, living up to my name. But today we're recording, and today I have a doozy. Now, if you want to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/thelazygoldmaker. You'll get early access to all of my video guides and text guides and all that jazz, as well as TSM settings. So yeah, that's very good. Now, today's episode, Lessons from Another Expansion launch is the title. I think this one's going to just be very relevant. So obviously, we just went through an expansion launch with Wrath Classic. And that means I added one more expansion launch worth of gold making experience to my resume. And I went into this one with like not that much gold for Classic, which is also very similar to how I went into Shadowlands with not that much gold on my main realm. For Shadowlands launch, I had about 1.2 million, which is rich, but not like it doesn't matter. Prices don't matter rich. It's like rich in terms of, yeah, I can pay for all my consumables and level all my professions, but not rich for legendary crafting. For TBC, I went into Wrath Classic with about 7,000 gold, and I had all professions maxed out, except for leatherworking, all of them on my characters, and I had epic flying on my Death Knight. So I had spent a bit of gold in the pre-patch, but not a huge amount of gold, but it's a medium amount. Now, I did not have that much time to spend on launch this time around. I didn't have vacation time. So I didn't go absolutely bananas. I played as much as I could. I've still generated more than 100,000. I think it's probably closing in to 200,000 gold in sales since launch. I'm level 80 on my Death Knight. I've maxed out every profession, at least up to where you get all of the meaningful recipes for selling. I have every Wrath profession available at max height. I've spent a lot of gold on toys or stuff for myself, like I bought the Greatness Trinket for my Death Knight. So I spent about 13,000 gold gearing out my main. And I have, as of right now, I think I have like 34,000 gold. And I've also started investing. I've started buying Darkmoon cards for the next fair, essentially, and I bought a huge amount of Saronite ore just before I started recording this that I haven't processed. So yeah, I made a lot of gold. I started with 7,000 gold, and I'm now at 34. So we made about 30,000 gold, and that's after just spending a lot of the gold as well, as I said, on gearing my main. So it was a very profitable launch. Now, one thing I did that I have to mention, I borrowed some gold. I had two friends. I borrowed gold from them, 5,000 each, 10,000 total, which really helped out. And I paid them back 6,000 each, so they got 20% return over like 2 weeks of me borrowing that gold. So I think they're pretty happy. So I even paid that back, and we're still up to 33k. So yeah, but that was necessary. So now we're going to talk about the lessons. What did I do maybe first? I started out going hard in glyphs. That was when everyone was leveling. I missed out on like the absolute crazy first day or two of glyph sales with Books of Glyph Mastery. I went in a little bit later. Most of the like super in demand glyphs were now down to 100 gold, 200 gold, and not like the selling Howling Blast glyphs as fast as you can print them for 500 gold. But I still made a lot of gold with the Book of Glyph Mastery purchases I did. Then the next step I did was entry-level PvP gear, low-level crafted gear, like Vengeance Bindings, cheap Prebis stuff. I sold a ton of this. I've sold Vengeance Bindings, the Prebis rare bracers. I've sold 15,000 gold worth of Vengeance Bindings since launch. I've sold 100 of them. Very good recipe. Then on the last 2 days of the Darkmoon Fair, one of the guys I borrowed money from, he dared me to craft Darkmoon decks. So I cranked out 2 Darkmoon decks on the first night, about 4 hours of crafting. They cost me about 7,000 gold each. I sold them for an average of 15,000 gold. So that was a nice 16,000 gold profit. And then I crafted one for myself, which cost me a bit more. I had a little bit of worse luck on the RNG, and I had to pay a lot for the ace because it was the last day of the fair. So that cost me about 10k. But yeah, if I'd spent more time on that, I would have been very rich. I've already started crafting decks for the next fair, as I say, because I think it's still going to be good. So what did we learn? What did I learn? The main lesson is the one we all know, or should know. And it's not going to be, you should be farming during launch. Unless you like farming, you shouldn't be farming. But what you want to be is you want to be early. You want to be first. And you want to be aggressive if you are early or if you are first. If you can, you should spend literally all of your gold on recipes and crafts. Obviously, cheap stuff sells faster. More expensive crafts are going to have a higher profit per hour. And absolutely important to time this based on what people are doing. Now, I saw some absolutely bonkers TSM graphs the first couple of days. Like the guy who spent 20,000 gold on Books of Glyph Mastery and made it back within 24 hours. And then 2 days later, they were up to 40,000 gold profit. Like 60,000 gold total. But just by being hyper aggressive first to market with what was hot. That was day 1, 2, 3 when everyone was leveling, and the only thing they were willing to spend gold on was glyphs because they would keep those forever. At 75 you unlock the last glyph stuff. That's going to help you level. It's going to help you at max level. People were paying. I've also seen some similar crazy graphs from some of my patrons that went really hard on the Darkmoon decks. As soon as you finish your first one, you can accelerate by the next one. And I've seen people go from 10k to 100k by the time the fair closed. I didn't do that, because I held back. So yeah, hit the gas early. Get into markets before others. I've heard people making 20,000-30,000 gold off of Death Whisper Cloak. And if you can find the markets before other people even realize the profit is there, then wham, you're gonna be living. Like Glyph Mastery books, they were not a secret. Everyone knew about them. But I was surprised that there was like hundreds of people lining up to pay 400 gold for a Glyph of Living Bomb. That's a really marginal benefit while leveling. Maybe it is good, I don't know, I don't play mage. But yeah, if you realize that people would be buying glyphs early, the first 2-3 days, then you made a ton of gold. Now, I made a good bit of profit, but not on the level of the top guys. The other thing that I've seen that's really important is to identify items that are going to be underbought early on, low demand. And that's particularly true for stuff that's high level item enhancements. Gems, enchanting materials, related recipes were all very cheap during the first week. One of my friends, he cranked out, bought 3,000 gold worth of Scarlet Rubies at 90 gold each. 1 week later, they were selling for 180 gold. They're now down again, but still. Damaged necklaces for jewel crafting recipes. They were selling for 100 gold during the first days. They're still at 400. I wish I'd bought some of them. That would have been incredibly profitable. Because there was a lot of extremely profitable recipes early on. Cosmic Essence is another one. It's the main bottleneck for enchants. They were less than 10 gold for quite a while. They've been peaked at over 20 gold, down to about 18, 17 gold on my realm. Enchant demand is absolutely through the roof with raids opening. Frozen Orbs is something we saw the same thing happening. It was very cheap, like 5-10 gold for a while. And then people started buying Lega enchants en masse, and they were just moving. Like, I can't find enough Frozen Orbs at cheap prices. Now, all of these things have one thing in common, and that's they are based on what the majority of the player base is currently doing. Everyone's leveling, they don't care about buying gear. They don't care about consumables. They do care about anything that can give them a permanent advantage while leveling, so that's glyphs. People are finished leveling. What do they care about? Pre-raid gear. Getting good gear. Then raids open. What do they start caring about? Consumables. Getting enchants because they're getting best in slot pieces. And this is going to vary a little bit from expansion to expansion. Of course, we're going to see the same general trends, but there's going to be like specifics that are different. Obviously, the Darkmoon cards are very special in Wrath compared to how they've typically been in retail, with a heavy emphasis on playing around the fair and only the Nobles deck being relevant. But the same trend is there. Like, you're focusing on items that are best in slot or pre-raid best in slot, and that people are going to want because it significantly improves their character. So yeah, that's it. The main lessons I learned: number one, go hard if you identify something that's good. Try to map out how you think the player base is going to move through the game ahead of time. Like, think about that. Like, okay, the first couple of days, what are they going to do? They're going to level. What are they going to buy when leveling? Once they hit max, what are they going to start buying then that they didn't buy while leveling? Those are items you can invest in. And then just what are the recipes that you need to target? How can you most efficiently unlock them? And then if you find something that's extremely good that no one else has entered yet, or there's very few competitors, then you go hard. You go as hard as you can, and you ride that wave until it crashes, and you enjoy the immense profits. So yeah, I guess in the next couple of episodes, or at least maybe not in the next couple of episodes, but over the next couple of weeks, we'll be looking at how we can build a model for this for Dragonfight. I think that's going to be very exciting. And I hope you've enjoyed Wrath launch. If you're playing Wrath Classic, I know I am, and I'm looking forward a little bit to Dragonfight as well. So it looks like we didn't get any questions in chat today, but if you're not aware, then this podcast is being recorded live on Twitch at twitch.tv/lazygoldmaker. So I'll be streaming on Thursdays going forward, so make sure you join us there if you want to see some gold making and ask me some questions. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one.